letter winner and varsity cheerleader for the Winston-Salem State University Rams from 1990 to 1994. She is a member of a number of public service organizations, including the Raleigh Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and the Wake County Chapter of the Winston-Salem State University Alumni Association. Whether mentoring middle school girls, serving as a volunteer cheerleading coach, or participating in fundraisers, Valanda embraces the verse, "To whom much is given, much is required." In 2013, Valanda was inducted into the first class of Winston-Salem State University's 40 Under 40 Club in recognition of her public service and career milestones. A dancer and cheerleader since her early years, Valanda went on to cheer professionally for the Washington Redskins. She loves fashion, and in 2013, Carolina Style magazine named Valanda one of the 25 most stylish people in the Triangle. You know when you tune in every morning to see her on My Carolina Today on WNCN. That's the NBC affiliate in Raleigh. She's looking good every day when you turn on that TV. She's also a dance teacher at the North Carolina Dance Institute and MC and Day of Wedding Coordinator for 360 Elite Entertainment.
I am so excited. This just means the world to me. I'm just so happy. I just can't stop talking about it. Thank you to Ronisha Cornelius for nominating me. Ronisha, please stand up. I met Ronisha through the Cheer Alumni Chapter. She was a cheerleading coach here at Winston-Salem State, and I'm just so happy that I know you. Thank you to the committee for choosing me. And I thank God for this award. I thank God for my family. Thank you all for being here. Okay, I'm not going to cry. My parents, Alton and Sons, are here. Please stand up or wave. They made sure I graduated from this place debt-free. Thank you. As a lot of you probably know, a lot of members of my family attended this great institution. Some of them are here. They set a great example for me, and they are the reason why I chose to be a Ram. So I'd just like to shout out Aunt Joyce, Mike, Teresa Slick, Aunt Angie, Uncle Julius, Uncle Vic, Joe, and Aunt Cherie. Thank you so much. My Uncle Gene and Aunt Denise went to ECU, but they have always been so supportive of me. I love you. Thank you so much. They are just down with me no matter what. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my sister Michelle. She did not attend Winston-Salem State, but everybody thinks she did because she is a Ram in her heart. Thank you so much for everything you do. She is the reason why I have ads in the program book. She is the reason why my family members are here. She stayed on them. She called, she emailed, she texted. So thank you for everything that...
Melvin Fair was a four-time CIAA Coach of the Year from 1987 to 1990 and coached the WSSU Rams to 3 consecutive CIAA wrestling championships from 88 to 90. His team was a 2-time Mid-South Wrestling Association team champion from 89 to 90, and he was also named Coach of the Year for the program's accomplishments. Through his leadership, Fair's teams captured 21 individual titles from 1986 to 1990 for the Rams, and 5 wrestlers have been inducted in the WSSU Big House Gaines Hall of Fame. Fair attended North Carolina A&T State University, go Aggies, from... Oh, wait a minute, you all are deeper than I thought. I thought I knew what kind of company I was in. Disguised in red, okay. He was the captain of the wrestling team all 4 years as a student athlete. He was a 3-time Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference wrestling champion in the 150-pound weight class, All-American NAIA Association, and a recipient of the team leadership, which he is most proud of. He was inducted into the Aggie Hall of Fame in 1993 for his accolades on the mat. Fair graduated from T.W. Andrews High School in 1971. He was the first state champion in the history of Andrews High School, and he was inducted into the school's Hall of Fame in 2014. He's held many athletic positions in his career: Director of Athletics and high school and middle school coach in the sports of wrestling, basketball, volleyball, football, and soccer. Fair is the owner and operator of Fair's Field Services, stripping, painting, athletics fields. That's what they specialize in. He is a member of the North Carolina Teacher Retiree Association, Holmes Grove United Methodist Church, as well as a member of, I'm almost scared to say it, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Okay, you're not as deep as the Aggies. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Melvin Fair.
Good evening, and thank everyone. I don't know who this guy you're talking about, but I'll stand up for him tonight. I thank God just for being here tonight, my family, my friends, high school, my college, my golfing buddies, the chancellor, also my friend, the athletic director, and their staff. It is an honor to stand before you tonight. I didn't get here all by myself. I got here by the grace of God, some close friends, real close friends, and the most important, those wrestling teams. Wrestling teams, stand up. These guys from 1986 to 1990. These are the guys that I'm representing tonight. As Coach Gaines always said, the term "in to learn and depart to serve." Among these guys that stayed in this community, we got colonels in the Army, majors in the Army, lieutenants in the Army, retired lieutenant colonel majors. These are the guys that wrestled for me. And these guys mean so much to me that I cannot express how much. Every time we talk, they say, "Coach, I love you." And for your wrestling team to talk to you and the telephone gets down, "Coach, I love you," that is very special. Not only they graduate from this university, but that bond we have among each other. I love them as well. Coach Gaines always said, "Coach, who y'all gonna beat?" He said, "Because all these guys are short like you." I said, "Coach, we gonna do something." You know, then all the titles started coming around and things started happening, and we started wrestling Carolina and State and the big schools. "Well, why are you wrestling those guys?" I said, "Coach, we gonna win a national championship." He said, "Are you for real?" I said, "Coach, we're gonna win a national championship." This team ranked 15th in the nation when I was there. This team had all those titles when I was there. This team graduated when I was there. So it's not about me, it's about them and what they did in the society and what they're doing now. God be the glory of this Almighty, because my team members and my family, and I thank you for that music. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Mr. Bobby Garner. Bobby Garner was a member of the 1970 CIAA championship basketball team, as well as a member of the 1971 CIAA football championship team. Garner was named Outstanding Player of the Week once during the 1971 season. He was named the All-Tournament team in basketball in 1972. And Garner was a 17th round pick of the New Orleans Saints in the 1973 NFL Draft. He was also named one of the Outstanding College Athletes of America in 1973 for his football acumen. And
Good evening, Chancellor Robinson, the Hall of Fame Committee, and my fellow inductees. It is truly an honor to be chosen as an induction into the Winston-Salem State University Big House Games Hall of Fame. With me this evening is my lovely wife of 15 years. Thank you. My cousins and friends from South Boston, Virginia, and Greensboro. When I think of Coach Gaines, Four things come to mind: opportunity, relationship, hard work, and truth. Opportunity. I went to a vocational high school because I didn't plan to go to college. My family didn't have the money and I didn't think I was good enough. But my basketball coach and Harold Bell, a Winston-Salem State University alumnus, said, man, let me get Big House up here to talk to you. And the rest is history. Big House gave me opportunity. I played basketball and football at Winston-Salem State University. Coach gave me a 4-year football scholarship. And I graduated in 1973 with a degree in health and physical education and a minor in art. Relationship. I would like to thank Mrs. Gaines and their children, Clarence and Lisa. My experience with Coach Gaines was always up close and personal. He took us into his home where we had meals and interacted with his family on many occasions, especially during the holidays when the university was closed. Hard work. I remember after football season, my sophomore year, I went into Coach Gaines' office and I told him I didn't want to play football anymore. I wanted to focus on basketball. He told me, son, you think somebody owe you something. Let me tell you one blank thing. Son, don't nobody owe you nothing in life. And the sooner you learn that, the better off you'll be. And that stick with me today. So the bottom line was, nothing is given, everything is earned. He told me, son, NFL scouts have been calling down here already asking about you. I think it would be in your best interest if you continue to play football. That year we won the championship and I was drafted by the New Orleans Saints in 1973. And I would like for my teammates to stand up if they're here, the football team. All right, guys. So we as a team did that. And the last thing is truth. Big House was a man of truth. The bottom line is every man needs another man in his life to see the blind spots and to give him wisdom and knowledge to keep him moving forward. If you didn't want the truth, you didn't ask Coach Gaines. He had no problem giving it to you straight with no chaser. When a man pours into you so many years and as a result you're still giving to others, as Coach Gaines poured into many men's lives, I am honored to be a part of this legacy. Thank you.
Hartford County, North Carolina, May Godet entered WSSU in 1980, providing service during her matriculation and continues to serve her alma mater numerous years after her graduation. She has served as a grassroots volunteer for admissions in that she's worked 29 open houses, 14 fall registrations, and 13 spring registrations. She's collectively accumulated over 1,000 hours of volunteer service with the WSSU Department of Athletics. Godet is a lifetime member of the WSSU National Alumni Association, where she serves as the Athletic Liaison Committee nationally and locally, as the Athletic Liaison for the WSSU NAA Brown Alumni Chapter, where she has been instrumental in linking all of Winston-Salem State University's sports programs to the chapter. She has served as the president of the Greensboro Alumni Chapter. She served as the first president of the WSSU Boosters Club and an advisory board member, and she's a member of the WSSU Horns and served as team captain for the athletic department's She's Got It Covered, a Classy Hat Affair. You cannot be tired of standing up here because we're only halfway through. That is a scholarship fundraiser we'll look forward to seeing you all at next year. And she was a member of the WSSU Heritage Society. She serves as secretary for Hoops Incorporated for the athletic department and has served on the athletic advisory committee and the NCAA D1 steering committee. She's also a member of the Greensboro chapter of the NAACP, the Board of Visitors, and a Diamond Life member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Odette is a supervisor for the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services in Guilford County. So without further ado, Ms. May Godette.
To God be the glory for the things he has done. Chancellor Robinson, A.D. Walker, Hall of Fame Chair Weeks, the Brown SGA administration, fellow inductees, family, friends, my homegirls, my classmates, my neighbors, my coworkers, my sorors, and of course my Ramily, from the 252s to the 704. Good evening, and thank you for your support. To my beautiful 83-year-old mother for teaching me it's always better to give than to receive. A big rest in heaven shout out to my late father who instilled in me work ethics of service. To my brothers for being so overprotective. And to this good son, a 4-year Chancellor Scholar graduating with honors in 2013 from Winston-Salem State University, and who will receive his master's from that school in Greensboro in December. To Dr. Charles Love, I understand you nominated me, and to the legend himself, whom I refer to as Chief. Thank you. We all make plans. I planned to attend Hampton University. I came to Winston-Salem State. I planned to major in medical technology. I majored in social work. I planned to take easy classes, so I took tennis, and I had an A because I was already seated #1 in my high school, but I didn't let Coach Gaines know that. It was on the tennis court where I met Coach Gaines, and he said, "Blank, girl, you can play." And he saw me in Whitaker Gym playing pickup recreation basketball, and he said, "Blank, girl, you can play." Later, I'm coming up the hill with the band, and he says, "You can't do it all." I said, "Yes, I can." So I planned to meet a few friends. I met my posse, 5 females with friendships over 35 years. I planned to be in a small class. I ended up in the class of 1984. I planned to be in a sorority, and I ended up number 54 of 56 of us. And now I'm in one of the largest chapters of Delta Sigma Theta in Greensboro. I planned to work in a small county. That didn't work. I ended up in one of the largest counties. Thank you, Betty. I planned to have 5 children. That didn't work, but I have 5 awesome godchildren who are all here tonight. So I've learned that we can make our plans, but it is God who orders our steps. And my steps were already ordered some 35 years ago. I like that song. I love that. I love that song. Can you play it up a little bit? And I thank you, Larry. As you often remind me, some people talk about it, and some people are about it. I am about it. May the service that I give to Winston-Salem State continue to speak for me. Ram pride all day, every day.
Linwood Gerald Jr. has been associated with the Winston-Salem State University Department of Athletics for over 40 years and is enshrined in the category of meritorious service. His work with WSSU Athletics began in 1971 as a member of the Rams baseball team. After graduating from Winston-Salem State in 1975, he joined the Rams football team as an assistant coach, and in his 15 years of coaching, he helped lead WSSU to 7 CIAA Southern Division championships and 3 CIAA championships with 2 NCAA football playoff appearances. Gerald has dedicated his life to Winston-Salem and its surrounding communities as an educator of exceptional children, a mentor, a coach, and a director of athletics throughout the triad. As a coach and athletic director, Gerald has helped lead local student athletes to a number of conference championships, including 5 state championships, most recently a state championship in girls indoor and outdoor track in 2015. For the past 15 years, Gerald has served WSSU football as an athletic department volunteer, and for the past 2 years as a game day operations coordinator. Gerald is also a board member of the Winston Lake Family YMCA and the National Football Foundation as a board member. He is also a member of the Winston-Salem Sportsman Club and a lifetime member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Gerald is currently the director of athletics at Parkland Magnet High School. Please welcome Mr. Linwood Gerald.
Dr. Robinson, Ms. Walker, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First, giving honor to God, who is first in my life. It is indeed an honor to have this opportunity to stand before you tonight as a 2015 inductee in the CE Big House Games Hall of Fame. I am truly humbled, I'm honored, but even more so, I'm blessed to be in this year's great class. As a freshman at Winston-Salem State University, we were taught that you enter to learn and depart to serve. But it doesn't stipulate where you serve. With service being the price you pay for the space that you occupy, so it's a joy for me to serve at the place that made all my dreams come true. As a professional, I wanted to make a difference in someone's life, as others had made in my life, and that is what I set out to do. Along the way, there were some people that sort of kicked me in the rear and made things possible. One of those folk is Clarence Big House Gaines. He would always say, "Boy, what you gonna do today?" And I just kept working. I went to Coach Hayes in 1977 and talked to him about being a volunteer football coach. He said, "Well, we're gonna have to see what Chief has to say about this." So after 3 years of being a high school coach, I thought I knew everything, but I soon found out I didn't. And for the last 28 years or so, Coach Hayes is still coaching me. About 10 years ago, I met Tanya Walker, and I fostered a relationship with her to get better at what I do as an athletic administrator. And still today, she's working on me and trying to get me to smile a little bit more. 36 years ago, almost to the day, I met my #1 cheerleader, my wife, Cynthia. And through all the ups and downs, she's still cheering for me. I love doing what I do, and most of all, I love serving others. So tonight I say thank you to this honor, and I will cherish it for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Coach Pete Richardson was the head coach of the WSSU Rams from 1988 through 1992. During that time, his Rams team amassed a record of 41 wins, 14 losses, and 1 tie. They won 3 CIAA championships in 1988, 1990, and 1991. He went on to coach 17 years at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where he won 5 Southwestern Athletic Conference titles, including a three-peat from 97 to 99. That was the school's first consecutive SWAC titles since 1959 to 60. 4 Black College national titles in 93, 95, 97, and 03, and 4 Heritage Bowl titles. Richardson was 12-5 in the Bayou Classic and the only SWAC coach never to have lost to the legendary Eddie Robinson. His winning percentage of 68.4% in 17 seasons at the school is second in Southern history. Richardson was a seventh-round draft pick of the Buffalo Bills in 1968, and he played defensive back from 69 to 71. He had 8 interceptions and 5 fumble recoveries in 39 career games, and he was inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. Richardson is currently retired from coaching, and he and his wife Lillian reside in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Pete Richardson.
Thank you for the kind words. It's good to be back in Winston-Salem. You know, I came, seemed like a long time ago. On Wednesday, I was 70 years old. And my daughter asked me, she said, "What you going to do today?" So I got up about 6 o'clock in the morning, put my jogging shoes on, and within a period of about 30 minutes, seemed like my whole life flew in front of me. And that was good, but then I still got a ways to go. So, but anyway, thanks for the hospitality. The chancellor, I didn't get a chance to see the university yet, but they told me there's a lot of changes. I probably wouldn't even know the place. When I was over there, Coach Hayes, we practiced down in the lower field. We didn't have an opportunity to get in the field house. We had to dress underneath the gym and walk over. So I could see there's a lot of changes was involved with that. Also, I see some of my original staff members here when I first came to Winston-Salem State. I think Coach Cadet, I had the opportunity, he was on that staff. Coach Harvey, Linwood Gerald, I think was there. And my man, Alfred Harvey. He was on that staff. So you can see all of us now, time has really flew past. Also, I'd like to thank the committee for nominating me to the Hall of Fame, and also to the honoraries. It's a tremendous honor. You know, most of the times when you think of Hall of Fame members, you think of individuals like Coach Gaines and Eddie Robinson, and you don't really start off anticipating that you're going to ever be able to stand beside them. But those individuals did a tremendous thing because most of them made standards and made some changes when they were around. Miss Gaines, I really appreciate you and your husband's big house, because I could tell you some stories that you didn't want to believe, but they're true, but I'll leave that alone. But, you know, I came to Winston-Salem State. I was only planning on being here a short period of time. And I met my wife, Lillian, and I ended up, I think it was 16 years before I had the opportunity to move on. You know, she was my rock. She was my counselor. And at times, she was my assistant coach. So she did that. I see the music is starting to play, but then I got an adopted family that's here too, that my daughter, she's here, her and her family, and her husband and her daughter's here. She has a son that's a freshman at Ohio University. You know, you're getting old when that starts. Also, I got Nick and Yvonne Snyder. By the way, at the other school I was at, half the time I could look in the stands and I could see some of them falling from here, and I really appreciate that too, because you made them a lot of money from your aspect of it. Nick and Yvonne Snyder, me and my wife really adore you. We respect you a great deal, and we love you. Also, my wife's brother, tremendous honor is being involved with them. And of course, everybody knows Coach Griffin. He's the only one that I know that done seen every game that I ever coached. So, you know, he's been around a while too. So I really appreciate him and his mom did a tremendous job of helping me out a great deal of time. But like I say, you know, you're never anticipating on being an honor, especially in the Hall of Fame. And, you know, I've been inducted in quite a few of them, but this has always been a special place for me. I knew that when I left out of here, that the school set the core, that I was going to be successful anywhere I went because of the things that I learned here, and also association with the people. Anytime that you can have that, and you learn from them, and you all love them, and like you say, WSSU, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Our final inductee this evening is Frazier Richard Sanders Jr. Frazier Richard Sanders Jr. was a four-year letterman on the WSSU football team from 1946 to 1950. He was also a four-year letterman on the boxing team and earned all CIAA honors in both sports. From 46 to 50, Sanders was also a member of the university choir before going on to become a member of the United States Army boxing team from 1950 to 1952. Sanders was a former educator before his passing, so we will welcome to the podium this evening his son, Frazier Sanders III, and grandson, Lance Sanders.
Thank you very much. And I was looking in the crowd as they were looking up as the bio on my father was being read, and I think people saying, boy, he's aged quite well. But I'd like to say to the committee, Hall of Fame members and inductees, Rams, family, and friends, I humbly come to you thanking you for my family for your induction of my father into the Clarence C.E. Big House Gaines Hall of Fame. This was a lifelong ambition of my father, and the only thing that's a bit sad for us this evening is he's only here with us in spirit. But I will tell you, him being inducted into this Hall of Fame exemplifies what he stood for. That was excellence and the expectation of excellence of all around him. I'd like to say to all that you have you've inducted a person that bled red blood, ram blood, and was a TC guy from way back when. So again, I come humbly and saying thank you to the committee and to Winston-Salem State for inducting my father, Frazier Sanders Jr., into the Hall of Fame.
Your enshrinement into the Winston-Salem State University C.E. Big House Gaines Hall of Fame is an elite honor that you should not take lightly. It carries with it the highest athletic recognition and principles of Winston-Salem State University. This honor will forever stand as a testimonial of your achievements. It is the duty of each of you chosen for enshrinement into the Winston-Salem State University C.E. Big House Gaines Hall of Fame to continue your service and commitment to your alma mater. Enter to learn, depart to serve. As the medallion, go ahead and place the medallion around the necks of the inductee. As medallions are now bestowed upon each Hall of Fame inductee, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Clarence E. Big House Gaines Hall of Fame class of 2015.
Thank you. And Mrs. Tanya Walker, our Director of Athletics, will join us for a few remarks.
Thank you, Nicole. Congratulations once more to the class of 2015. If you would, please join me in one last round of applause. We pay tribute to you for either through your participation, your coaching, your support or your interest have made outstanding contributions to the field of intercollegiate athletics, who have helped bring recognition, honor, and distinction to Winston-Salem State University. I hope that each of you will continue to embrace the colorful history of Winston-Salem State athletics, and I trust that each of you have enjoyed the evening and the stories that have been shared that continue to emphasize the importance of the Ram family and the role of competitive athletics, and the role that it has continued to have on the education, the total experience, and development of our students. I'd like to take a minute to recognize a few persons in the audience at this time. Certainly, everything that you see tonight could not have been done without the hard work and efforts of the C.E. Gaines Hall of Fame Committee. If you are amongst us in the audience, if you would, please stand and be recognized. Thank you, and once again, job well done. If there are any Board of Trustee members in the audience, or former Board of Trustee members, if you would, please stand. Kyle, yes. Please stand, Kyle. This is our SGA president, Kyle Brown. Any elected officials? Would members of the Rams Athletics Department please stand and be recognized? I have the hardest working staff in all of America, and I appreciate you and all that you do. I'd also like to give special thanks to each of our athletics sponsors, and we could certainly not do what we do without you. To the Benton Convention Center, Crown Trophy, Sherwood Flores, Saks for God, and Speedy Printing, thank you for making us look great once again. And thank you for your investment in Winston-Salem State University. I bid you all a great night, a good evening, and I hope to see you at the game tomorrow, where we will continue to celebrate our inductees. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is such a wonderful night. It's a great night. I am so excited to be here. I want to congratulate each of the inductees, and I want to say thank you for the lesson. I want to say thank you for reminding me of where I sit and where I stand and where I work. The greatness of WSSU is on full display tonight, and we thank you so very much for that. This is, without a doubt, a great class. You heard the bios, you heard all the great things that they've done. This is a very, very special group of individuals. I get so excited every day when I walk around and I go around the state and this country and I hear about all the great things that our alumni are doing and everything that we're doing at WSSU. As chancellor, I'm thrilled. If I'm in the Triangle, for example, and I'm the only chancellor that this can happen to, that I can turn on my television set and I can see Valanda on one channel, and then I can turn to another channel and I can see Nicole flipping the channel. In fact, Nicole was on one Saturday morning and I tweeted her, and she actually tweeted me back. And I said, how is it possible that you can tweet me back? Aren't you live on television? She then tweets me and said, that's the kind of education you get at WSSU when you have to multitask. I am, to the inductees, once again, to be inducted in the Big House Gaines Hall of Fame, I can only try to imagine what that feels like. Some of you may or may not know that I actually wake up every morning to Big House. He's actually a big picture is in the living room of him, and he's there for a number of reasons. One is that's the chancellor's house, and he deserves to be in that house. And then the other picture that I see is the founder of this great university, and so I see those two men every day when I get up. I can only imagine what it feels like to be in the Hall of Fame, WSSU, the Big House Games. If I had a red jacket like that, I would sleep in it. I just wouldn't take it off. I wouldn't take it off. Thank you so much for this night. It's been a great night. We welcome you here to WSSU, understanding that October is a special, special time for the history of this university. Because later on, during the world's greatest homecoming, and it is, a lot of people try to claim that, but there's only one world's greatest homecoming. during that homecoming, we're going to do a lot of things. But one of the things we're going to do in addition to Founders Day is we're also going to install the 13th Chancellor at WSSU, and I'm so proud to be in that position. We invite you to come back and be a part of the homecoming celebration. And once again, to all the inductees, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, we love you, and we look forward to you working with us as we continue to build this Hall of Fame and we continue to carry on the great legacy of athletics at Winston-Salem State University. I bid you a good night.